Hi Gina.
Hi Ione. Hi everyone. I'm Gina, the Senior Editor of Polyester.
And I'm Ione, the Founding Editor-in-Chief of Polyester. And this is the Polyester Podcast, a feminist pop culture podcast dissecting the discourse on a weekly basis.
Before we start, if you're a fan of this podcast, please make sure to like, rate, subscribe and review. And if you really love us, you can sign up for a podcast membership, where you can join our WhatsApp chat, get access to our research each week, and get on our Instagram close friends for only £3 a month. We also now have a Substack called Non-Threatening Boys Asterix, where we'll be sharing exclusive content twice a month on the Boy of the Hour. Do we have any reviews, Ione?
No.
Oh.
Wah, wah.
When did it end? All the enjoyment.
No one likes us.
Do you know what Rob just said to me?
What?
He thought that was all pre-recorded.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking that as you were doing it.
Did you know we do it live every week?
I know.
Well, we do if you're listening.
Live and direct.
Straight from my mouth to your ears.
God's lips to your ears. Is that the phrase?
I immediately went to mice, so I don't know.
Mice.
Like God's lips to mice's ears.
Mice aren't acting God's will.
And I think it's because
Although, that is symbolism in Nosferatu.
Well, I think
rats.
I was thinking more of
Satan.
A Muppet's Christmas Carol.
Aww.
When they go, and cheese is for the mices.
Aww.
Well, you've given the game away there. What are we talking about?
Babe, everyone sees the title. We went through this last week.
But we always start by saying what we're talking about.
Yeah, I know. But I'm not giving the game away.
Whoa. When did it?
Shut up, Gina.
So what do you want? Right, okay. So me and Ione having gone to the cinema a lot together recently.
And separately. Well, not me separately. Gina's been going separately.
What did I see separately?
Better Man.
Oh, it slapped. But we're not talking about that today.
No.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about Babygirl and Nosferatu.
Which was your favourite?
Neither.
If you had to pick.
Which one's your favourite? If I had to pick, no, neither. Babygirl, I'd say.
Mine was Nosferatu.
I think I rated Babygirl higher than Nosferatu on Letterboxd.
Yeah, get us on Letterboxd.
Oh no, you put Letterboxd on your out list, so you're actually banned from the app.
I know, I regret
They emailed
it.
me and told me. They said you're not allowed on it anymore.
They changed my mind. Oh, it's not definitive. I liked Nosferatu better.
Okay. That's it then. So, see you next week.
For fuck's sake. Okay, what do you want to talk about first? Well, Babygirl, I was going to say Babyratu, which is just what everyone's calling it.
Well, in America it came out on the same day, both titles, both
Christmas
films.
Day.
Which is Christmas Day, but because we live in England and nothing good ever happens here, we got them this week.
Which is nuts, because in Nosferatu they have English accents.
Yeah, and
So
in
we should get it
Babygirl it's
first.
Christmas.
Well, exactly. By the time we watched Babygirl, it was like Christmas over.
Yeah, well, I don't want
Christmas
something
fan shaking.
festive. Maybe that's why I didn't like it.
Because you weren't in the festive spirit.
No.
Well, I think you didn't like it because it was a bad film.
Womp womp. Okay, so
Sorry. I feel bad about saying that.
we both agree on Babygirl and we disagree on Nosferatu.
Yeah.
And people are grouping them together, A, because they came out on the same day, B, because they both deal in different and similar ways with female sexuality.
How did they deal with female sexuality, especially Nosferatu?
What do you mean?
Well, what's your interpretation of female sexuality in Nosferatu?
So a spoiler warning here, obviously, we're just going to spoil these films, so if you haven't seen them, don't listen to this episode, go and see them.
Yes, listen to it after you've seen them.
Yeah, go and see them and come back is what I was going to say.
Oh, fab.
Because Nosferatu, it opens with her meeting Nosferatu in a garden and shagging him, and then the whole thing is
Sexual desire.
Some people say sexual desire, some people say sexual assault, some people say both.
Yeah, I'm interested in what side of the coin you're falling on.
Well, I saw a tweet that was let's go back 2 steps. Nosferatu, Gina, what is it about?
It's Black Dracula.
What?
It's Black Dracula.
Black?
Yeah, because he's... This is the final time that my creative writing degree comes into play.
Is so interesting. You said this when we were waiting for the film. I think everyone would like to hear.
So this isn't in the research, and you can't fact check me on this, but basically go away and research this, but this is my interpretation, remembrance of the story. And as
Gina went to uni 12 years ago.
as old as Count Orlok himself.
Maybe that's why you fancied him.
So basically, Dracula came out the book, and then in the 1920s when they made Nosferatu was originally a silent film, 1922, in Germany. When it was first made, he literally just ripped off Dracula to make it, the guy who made Nosferatu.
Because he just wanted to make a Dracula film and
He
was
wanted
like,
to make a
but I
vampire
can't call
film.
it
I
that.
don't want to get the rights for it. I can't
Right,
be
yeah,
honest. Like,
fair
I'm just going to rename it Nosferatu and change some details.
Mm-hmm.
By that time, Bram Stoker, who wrote Dracula, was dead, but his wife controlled the estate. She found out about it, and even though, like, Nosferatu, I think it had been released and people had seen it, she, like, kicked off so much that it got rescinded. I think it got locked in a vault for years, and then eventually came out because people were like, no, this is, like, an amazing part of silent cinema, especially the start of, like, horror cinema. It deserves to be seen. And I think by that time, Dracula had, like, gotten out of the copyright period, whatever it's called.
She was in the public domain.
Yeah.
And she was dead. But you told me, you said that. You said that before.
No true crime here. It's in the public domain, and she was dead. Yeah, so Nosferatu is at its core a rip-off of another story, but then also there is only 7 stories that a person can tell.
Is there a landlord in Dracula?
No. Well, yeah, kind of.
Estate agent.
Dracula's moving to Whitby because he's been called to by a woman.
So it's literally the same story.
Yeah, but at the end of Dracula, they don't kill him with daylight, they stab him with knives. And then he dies. He, like, comes to Whitby, like, causes loads of mayhem in Dracula, goes back to where he came from. Back to Transylvania, I guess. Goes back there, then they endeavour to find him. So that's where the story takes place. Like, they go, these, like, tag of men and women go to Dracula's castle.
So it's all, like, pretext that all of the estate agent stuff.
Yeah, and then they go to Transylvania to get the revenge. He's got, like, his sexy Dracula wives, and then they stab him to death.
Okay. So that isn't what happens in Nosferatu, which is the film we are talking about today.
I don't think we need to say the plot of Nosferatu.
Well, I just can't believe it's about estate agents.
Why?
It's so boring. It's the most boring story I've ever heard in my life.
Well, it's just because it's old as the hills, isn't it? Like,
also, the whole like half the film. I feel like half the film of Nosferatu was just people running to different places. So, A, Nicholas Hoult running to the castle. B, Nicholas Hoult getting back from the castle.
I don't think so.
C, Aaron Taylor-Johnson and Emma Corrin walking around the beach. And then Lily Rose Depp walking around. And then William Dafoe and the Doctor and Aaron Taylor-Johnson and Nicholas Hoult walking around.
Well, I think it would have been a 5-star film if Emma Corrin wasn't in it. No offense to them.
They were so bad.
They were really, like, I just didn't see the point of them how, like, they could have just if you're adapting, I think that's what I don't like about, because there's films that he tries to stay too close to, like, the time period and being, like, a faithful adaptation. Before, it's been, like, a faithful portrayal of, like, a time period or, like, something like that. With him doing an adaptation, he's tried to be too faithful to it. Like, you could have just told that story and made it be, like, she's got a sister who lives in the same house as her and her kids are the ones that, like, get killed. Rather than be like, here's a long convoluted story about how she's best mates with this fucking man's wife.
Oh, I still didn't get it.
What do you mean? Well, they just wanted to have in the story that Count Orlok kills kids.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't get why they were mates or anything. I didn't think that
well,
was
exactly.
that
There was no chemistry at all, Emma Corrin. Sorry about it. But I really liked the film. Much to my aghast when we left and everyone was going, oh shit, wasn't it? And I was like, no, so enraptured with the storyline. Like, I feel like the tension was really good. Like, where I even thought, like, they didn't show enough of Nicholas Hoult getting to the castle. They snapped, and he was in with all the travellers in the Romany, like, bit at the bottom of the castle.
Yeah, I think that as it should be. But then it was the next bit that was very long.
What, when he's just being moping about the castle?
I just feel like it was and it's the same problem with Babygirl. It was like loads of scenes don't equal a film. Like, loads of individual scenes don't make a film. Like, they don't make you compelled by the narrative or, like, in the story.
That's what I disagree with you on, because I agree with you on Babygirl, but I think then I was really, like, enamoured with I was, like, caught up in the tension and the narrative of Nosferatu, but I do think primarily it's because I fancied him.
But, for example, when he goes to the village with the travellers, and then he wakes up and they're doing the, like, ritual to make sure no one else becomes a vampire or whatever by stabbing graves. It just happens and then it's done.
Yeah, and he's like, wow, that is what people do out here.
A bugbear with films at the moment, which I sent in our work group chat earlier, which is like, why is it that I feel like it's from The Substance, basically. Like, The Substance started here, and now everyone's like, oh, we've got to really like hone in that this film goes crazy, like someone looks crazy in it that's normally like really attractive conventionally. So in the lead up, it was all like, oh my god, Bill Skarsgård, like unrecognizable. Like when he walked on set, I wouldn't notice him. He's a real monster. Like there's no human in him. He looks like he looks like an old man. He doesn't look like a monster at all. He looks like an old man.
Sex massive doll.
I didn't see the dick.
Huge cock.
Shut up, Gina.
Couldn't see his balls though.
Well, maybe vampires don't have balls.
That's eunuchs.
What?
That's eunuchs.
What do you mean?
Eunuchs don't have balls.
What's a eunuch?
A eunuch's someone who has their balls chopped off for religious reasons.
Well, maybe Nosferatu's one of them.
I think he was an oligarch.
That's different. That's not religious.
No, I know, that's what I mean.
But you can be religious.
No, but I think he had balls, is basically but they were in the shadows.
Oh, it really doesn't matter. Oh my god, I feel like I'm getting annoyed.
Anyway, we need to talk
He
about
didn't
this.
look that scary.
Yeah, people were like, I'm so glad that they've kept him ugly, like, to when we're talking about female sexual desire and sexuality and, like, having these layers of sexuality within a film. All the tweets were being like, I'm so glad they've kept him ugly and disgusting, and people were being like, oh, it should have been a bit sexier so that, like, it would have made the sexuality storyline make sense. And then when I see him, I was like, he's fit.
He's not fit, but he doesn't look like a monster either.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, people were, like, proper being like, the hideous beast.
Yeah. And then, additionally, it's that, and then it's that, and then... Oh, sorry, it's The Substance, and then Nosferatu, and then there's this new like werewolf film coming out with Charlie from Girls in it with Julia Garner, and
First time
can't
hearing
wait.
of it.
It's like
fancy
Julia
it as well.
Garner's husband turns into a werewolf man, and everyone's being like, all the clips that are going viral are Julia Garner being like, I didn't recognise him, like that first day on set, I was like actually scared of him. It's like, enough,
There's acting as well.
cool.
Like, you didn't recognise him? Yeah, because he's acting in something else and he's covered in fucking 400 milligrams of plastic. What you on about?
Yeah, obviously you're not going to recognise him.
It's like when you see Tim Curry in it. I don't recognise him because he's got shitloads of makeup on.
Yeah, I just feel like it's the new like conceit, like the new shock tactic.
Yeah, to be like...
And it's
children
nice
now.
that everyone's doing practical effects, but like enough is enough. You're not that scared. You know what the film's about. You've had the script for months.
Yeah, I don't think they even needed it for this.
What?
To sell it to me. Like, I think they would have done better to be like, it's a really faithful adaptation. Maybe they mean because they gave Orlok a moustache.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's a curveball. He's not had a moustache before. Not a big bushy one anyway.
And with that, we're going to the break. And we're back.
Sorry, that was a bit chaotic.
Are we pivoting?
I feel a bit guilt-ridden about
Why?
that. I was just being naughty.
Yeah, be serious for the next 15 minutes, please.
Yeah, for Babygirl.
But then the whole central thing is that Lily Rose Depp, has this like conflicted relationship where she's like, oh, Nosferatu, like I'm compelled to him, drawn to him, represents like her, people are saying it's representing like her desire and like, what's the word?
Female sexuality.
Repressed sexuality, like especially in Victorian times. And then the ending is that they shag and he drinks her blood and then he dies because he's in the sunlight because he's enjoying shagging so much.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of was like a letdown of an ending that she didn't succeed, but I guess it is reflective of the times, like a woman in those times being sexually liberated or like embracing her want to be like very horny would have been like chucked in a mental asylum. Like I saw a really good tweet thread that was like she got away with it because of like the level of class that she was in, like having all those histrionics and stuff. If she'd been like any lower class of a woman, or like, and she's even only just getting away with it because she's in a mate's house, like she would have just been locked up like the guy who was eating the pigeons.
Well, the guy who was eating the pigeons was just walking down the street eating the pigeons as well.
Yeah, but if she had just been in the street in like a bit of a rag.
Yeah.
And
A
bit of a rag and convulsing on the floor being like, I'm so horny for the man across the sea. They would have been like, you are going into the asylum now.
Yeah, but then I also think there's this weird thing where like people are making a big thing of Nosferatu more than it was. And because I read in one of the reviews where it was like, oh, all the men are like openly, like they openly hate the fact that she's sexual and stuff. Her and Nicholas Hoult have sex.
Yeah, he feels sorry for her.
And it doesn't seem like they're like not. It seems like they're on a similar vibe.
I don't know, though. I think they're all, like, othering her for being sexual.
Not
If you're
Nicholas
seeing her,
Hoult.
if you're seeing hysterics as sexual, like, he's feeling sorry for her and wanting it for himself. Aaron Taylor-Johnson is disgusted by it. Willem Dafoe is like, you're a special girl for being like this.
Well, yeah, no, exactly. I think it's not as cut and dry as being like they all hate her.
No, but they're all, like, seeing it as something abnormal.
I mean, she is acting abnormal as well.
Well, yes.
Like, to be fair.
But it's like, it's a metaphor.
I know. I do understand. I do understand what's trying to be done.
Let's go into Babygirl then. Because we both have similar opinions on it, so I think it'll be...
But I think it's with Nosferatu, I think it's one of those films as well where, and probably is displayed by our conversation around it, that everyone's just projecting their own view of sex onto it.
That's what great cinema is.
No, I disagree. But as in, like, I think it doesn't work in the discourse chamber.
Well,
like, it's a film that doesn't work in now because of discourse.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Because I think everyone's... Well, it's the thing, like we've always said, like, people will always see their opinion as fact. Whereas, like, an interpretation of a film is such a personal thing.
That's true, and it's like what we said with Poor Things, like, lots of different interpretations can exist about something without any of them being wrong or any of them being true either.
Yeah, there's loads of Nosferatu, like, I've seen people reacting and being like, this reminded me of, like, my sexual assault and stuff like that, and I was like, I don't have that experience, and I didn't have that interpretation of it, but I can understand where someone would be coming from having that. And I think, like, I'm not going to be like, well, I found it horny, so you're wrong. Like, there's such a fucked way to take things. And loads of people on Twitter are just having arguments like that.
But then, yeah, exactly. And this is where I think, so there's an article in the research that's from the New York Times, which is, are the intense scenes in Nosferatu and Babygirl supposed to be funny? And basically it's like people laughing at the possession scenes in Nosferatu and then people laughing at the sexy scenes in Babygirl. And I think people only laughed once in our screening of Nosferatu, like at a possession scene. Like they laughed at some of the other bits. Aaron Taylor-Johnson and Emma Corrin's bad acting. And it was like the one where she goes like ham with it and then they start, like Nicholas Hoult and her start having sex.
Yeah.
And I feel like a weird thing about now is that, like, yeah, we expect everyone to go to the cinema and take film really seriously all the time and, like, repress any reaction they're having to the film. But it's, like, also with that and, like, that specific scene where it's, like, something obviously, like, quite out of the ordinary is happening and then they start having sex, which is something people feel awkward about watching on screen, as we all know. People are going to laugh because they feel uncomfortable. It's not necessarily ha-ha funny. And how have we got to the point where we think that anyone laughing at anything or having a reaction is just being like mocking or like not taking the work seriously or not doing whatever? It reminds me of when we went to go see Anora at a screening room and it was just like 12 critics and me and you were like hooting and everyone was like, pfft.
Yeah, I think the point the cinema is like having that mass watch experience. Like I remember when I saw Get Out and everyone was going like ham, like, you know, at the end when the police car comes and then it's actually his mate.
Yeah.
Everyone's going, yes! And like I'm quite a vocal cinema goer and I think like it adds to the experience. Like if you want to watch something solo, watch it alone.
Oh, also, it was so embarrassing at the end of Nosferatu though, because like we were in a cinema. It was like 400-seater cinema or something. We're in a group of like 15 people that all went to see it. Me and Gina are on either ends of the aisle, and at the end of the film, I just hear
I like starting a clap. I think
coming from our row, and I looked down. And I was like, "Who was that?" And Gina was like, "Me."
I love me going, it's me, Gil. I love
clapping at the end of the film was like clapping when a plane lands.
That's why it's funny. That's why it's funny. I did it in Better Man as well.
Did everyone join in at Better Man?
I quite a few did. I didn't do it in Babygirl because I did not think.
People did it at the end of Wicked when we went to go see Wicked. There was only like 10 people in the screening.
And it was shit.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, Babygirl. I've said a lot about Nosferatu. Would you like to tell us about Babygirl?
Yeah, so Babygirl is being framed as an erotic thriller, but I don't think it's...
There's no erotica and there's little thrill to be
had. I think there's more erotic than there is thrill.
Yeah, I agree.
About Nicole Kidman playing a CEO of a really weird company. It's like warehouse robot company.
Yeah, it's like automated delivery service.
Yeah, and
it kind of just seems like she needed a job and they didn't know what to do, so they just were like, tech.
Yeah, she's a CEO of this company. She's got like a husband that she's been married to for 20 years. They've got 2 kids. One is 16. and one is like 9 or something. They live in New York. They have a lovely life. He's a playwright, but like successful. Like he's in the theatre and stuff. You see him quite often, like putting on plays and shit. And she is unhappy with her life. The film starts with her like having sex and then immediately running in the other room to like finish herself off while watching like daddy porn. And then she gets a new batch of interns into her company who they make a point of showing all get paid, which made me scream. There's a bit where he's like, yeah, I'm unpaid internship. It's like, why have they added that in? But yeah, so then the interns start. We all know this premise from the trailer. Has Dickinson there. He keeps flirting with her like really hard, and to the point where eventually she's just like, yes, let's snog. And then like they just get like this weird power dynamic between them where he's trying to like dominate her but doesn't really know like how to go about it, which is like something that isn't shown in the trailer or has really been covered in like,
the trailer's kind of like set up as that he's like
immediately like daddy, like.
But then also I feel like the film portrays that as well. Like there's this weird thing where it's like they never really address that like he's a bit shit at it. And like when they're in bed or whatever, she's like, oh, I feel like you can sense things about people. Like as in he just looked at her once and was like, oh, she needs to be dommed. But like they never, yeah, he has charisma, but they never like.
Yeah, I think like he's moving intuitively and it's trying to like say like that's why there's like back and forth and there's awkwardness because she won't be like admitting it or like actually submitting to him and stuff like that. And I think that bit is kind of played well. I think my issue with the film is that a lot of the erotic sex scenes are shown in like montages, so you never really get the like actual tension from them. And then it kind of like finishes like them having sex or having like these erotic moments kind of like stops halfway through the film, and then it's like dealing with the fallout. But then the fallout scenes are just
but then it picks up again.
Yeah, it's just kind of like weird pacing.
Plotless.
Those are drone shots, and then like being like, well, how do you deal with yourself after you've like not even like as a sexual person, because it's kind of like I thought it would go into her exploring like now she has like submitted, like what does that mean for her as like a businesswoman? Will she want to do it again? And she does kind of try and like ask her husband, but it kind of more deals with it being like she's a nasty cheat. She cheated on her husband. She has the fallout from her being a horrible cheating woman, rather than like exploring the psyche of like a woman who has spent her whole life not submitting in a way that she wants to.
Sexually repressed but professionally liberated.
Exactly. She spent her whole life being sexually repressed. She's finally broken out of that, and I thought it'd be so much more interesting to explore what's going on in her psyche after doing that as like a fucking 55-60-year-old woman.
Yeah, apart from when she's literally coming, you never really get the sense that she's enjoying any of it. Like she's very stressed.
Yeah,
very stressed woman.
And I think like there should have been like an exploration of her as like post getting that gratification, rather than like immediately going into like.
Well, they do it once, remember? And she turns up at the Hamptons house in like a sexy lace dress for like brunch.
Oh, I know.
It's like, what?
But like, I just feel like I want like her in a narrative. Like we never get anyone's in a narrative in this film.
Yeah, I feel like
and that doesn't need to be expressed vocally. I just think it's not expressed at all.
I feel like we were conned a bit because in all the press, all of the promotional tour and stuff, Nicole's like. Nicole Kidman.
Oh, Nicole.
Nicole.
Oh, Nick.
Nicole Kidman is like, oh, you know, like, I felt so liberated because it's a woman director. Like, this is a film from, like, the female point of view. And, like, everyone keeps being like, oh, this scene is a win for the female gaze. This scene is, like, a win for girls. But it's like, you don't really get that.
No.
And if you do get it, you don't get it as, like, any sort of enjoyment. Like, there's no, like, pleasure in it.
I think there's, like, definitely, like, scenes where I could watch that, like, as a standalone and have a strum.
Fuck's sake, Gina.
But like
Jesus Christ.
But like in the way that like black and white GIFs on Tumblr might have turned you on back in the day.
Oh my
like,
god.
Not in, like, it's actually well done. Do you know what I mean?
So our friend Daisy Jones of British Vogue wrote an article which is entitled Babygirl is all vibes, no meaning. And she said, if the substance takes one idea, the horror of aging, and then pushes it to its furthest degree to the point that it becomes comical, Babygirl sort of does the opposite. It takes a lot of ideas, big ones, small ones, half-formed ones, and then never fully runs with them in a way that feels full-bodied or gratifying. But again, what you take from Babygirl will depend on what you want from it. I think both films are true. It's true of both films.
I think it's a good starting point for erotic thrillers, though. Like, if you watched it and you're like, I really like this bit about it and I like that bit about it. There's a whole fucking wealth of movies out there that you can watch.
Well, I know
to,
this is controversial, but I think both films could have benefited from being a limited series.
A limited series?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have liked, especially Babygirl. I think that would have been amazing.
Well, I think even Nosferatu, because even with Lily Rose Depp, it's like, you didn't actually see her being that yearnful. I don't know if yearnful was a word, but like, she yearned a bit, but she didn't yearn to the degree that like really made me believe she was yearning.
Well, I think the point is that she was repressing herself yearning.
Yeah, but I would like to see a bit more yearning, is what I'm saying.
You wanted a longer film?
No, I want a limited series. I want a limited series.
The Brutalist has an interval in it.
I agree with that. Big time. Also, on Babygirl, some of the worst sound design I've ever seen in my life.
Sound design terrible. All the needle drops embarrassing. There was so many drone shots. Like, and you know, like something's bad when you start like picking up on it, being like, oh, here's another drone again in the middle of a film. And they were always like to like zoom in on their Hampton house or like through the city, and I'm like, we don't really need that. And I
Do you
feel
think
like
they
it's
got like spawned by a drone company?
No, I think they've picked up on that kind of like action or like movement in films from the 80s and 90s that like are erotic thrillers, because they do like have that like action in them. I think it's picked up on that and been like, right, we need to do the framing from erotic thrillers without really like having the pacing or narrative of an erotic thriller. Like there's nothing like this. What's the thrill that she like almost fucked up her life?
Yeah, there's no stakes.
But she didn't almost fuck up her life.
And then her husband forgives her anyway.
Like she keeps like, that's the thing. Like I never at any point believed that she was going to lose it all. And I think
or her job.
Yeah, at all. Inclusive of job.
I thought you said her daughter or her...
She wasn't going to lose it all.
Oh, sorry, I misheard. But I think both are true as well with like the all vibes. Oh, something that's really confusing me though is like everyone's being like, about both films, Babygirl and Nosferatu, they look really good. Both look fucking shit.
Oh no, I disagree with you.
Nosferatu, the costuming is really good. Lily Rose Depp looks amazing because she's gorgeous. Her wig was terrible. Looked like 3 strands stuck to her head. Like that was meant to be like long, luscious hair, and it looked awful.
She looked crazy with the thick hair though.
It looked lovely up.
She looked crazy with the thick hair.
On the reverse of this, Emma Corrin, crazy. The hair looked bananas up. Like the little wrinkles, I was like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe Lily Rose Depp has iPhone face. I just believe she was wearing a really, really terrible wig.
I don't think she's got iPhone face at all. I think she's got a proper, like, old-timey face.
B, everyone's, like, being about Robert Eggers. Like, oh, yeah, you know, he, like, so masterfully sets up a shot. Like, everything has its place and detail and, like, really important to him how stuff looks. For its detriment. Look shit. Like, by focusing, I feel like, and the same can be said for Babygirl, because, like, Babygirl was a really good trailer, right? Like, incredible trailer. And both of these things, incredible trailers, but they couldn't actually pull off the vision in long form, because, like, it crumbles if you're thinking so seriously about shots.
Oh, I think Dracula was, Dracula?
Yep.
I think Nosferatu was beautiful.
I thought it was so ugly. Like, how many times did I have to see a hand go over, like, a city or her body or, like, different things? It's like, just take 5 of them out and you've cut 10 minutes and maybe I have more patience for this film.
No, I loved her. But I think that's the thing. Like, if you're sold on a story, then you can, like, be more forgiving of stuff like that. Whereas, like, if you're not, like, along for the narrative or the ride, then you're not gonna... It's easy to pick up on the things that made you dislike her.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you're really enjoying something, then you're not gonna be able to pinpoint the stuff that you maybe didn't enjoy about it until afterwards.
I also saw a tweet about people at Babygirl being like annoyed because the audience were like all chatting and like giggling and stuff. A, get a life. Like, it's not a serious film.
That's the point.
But B, also, like, you can do that and it's a good film. But I went to the toilet in the middle of Babygirl and there was literally groups of girls just chatting in the toilets. I was like, this is a sign it's a shit film. Like, you're not desperate to get back to the film. You're literally rather have a conversation with your friends.
If it had been a thriller, like we're all on the edge of our seats.
Yeah, I wasn't gripped.
I would have been silent.
No, you would have been like, no, you wouldn't have been silent, but most other people would have. You would have been like, oh!
Oh my god, she's in the corner again.
Life is a stage for Miss Gina Tonic.
I'm enjoying myself.
No, I know. I think it's fun. And it definitely adds to it. And I agree. Cinema is like a communal experience. If you want silence, watch it at home. 100% agree with that. Or go to like a cinema where you know people won't be rowdy.
Oh, yeah, just
like go to an uptight cinema.
Yeah, go to a big posh cinema where they've got what's it called? Just go at like 9 a.m. because
where they've got what?
Where they've excluded all us povers with the price. But Yeah, I remember Eden saw Benedetta at like 9 a.m. because it was the only time she could go, and it was like her and an old man. And she
Yeah, of
said
course.
It was like made it so much better, but also really, really scary
Yeah, I bet.
because the old man was there.
And with that,
Thank you, Ione.
people, please make better films for the rest of this year.
Yes.
I'm not going to cinema again until I'm utterly convinced it's going to be good.
Can't wait for the werewolf one.
You haven't even seen the trailer. It looks shocking.
Does it? Is it like
Yeah.
Night Bitch 2?
No, I don't even know what it is. I don't know the time, but thank you, Gina.
Thank you, Ione. Sorry, jumped the gun then. Thank you, Rob and Seaham for sound teching
And for research.
and for the research today.
And thank you, Olivia, for the editing, and all of you for listening.
And thank you especially to our members.
Oh, we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.